Consumer prices have risen now 5.4%, highest inflation in 13 years. That's perhaps because it's the same people that were in office 13 years ago. What a crazy idea. Things are completely out of control. If you look at the prices, well, I don't need to tell you. You go to the grocery store, you buy meat. Well, Stu doesn't. But
I still buy it.
Yeah, we're all going to be vegans, and we're all going to like it. We're all going to like it. And by the way, by 2030, with the Great Reset, you'll own nothing, and you'll like it. And I want you just to ponder that. How is it that a country that really bases its whole dream, its identity, on private ownership? That's how you get rich. That's how you move up in class. You know, when you were a serf, the lord and the lady owned all the land, and you just worked for them, and you rented from them. You would give them so much of your crop, and that's the way you made it. And you could never move up because you couldn't own land. Isn't it interesting that this is all coming back, but this time we're going to like it? Now, how do you create a situation in 8 years where the people of America won't own anything? Well, you get them so ensnared in debt, you then raise the taxes so they have to sell their stuff, and you just make it impossible through, the Green New Deal. When you have to weather strip and you have to put all these things in and you can't use natural gas anymore and oil is too expensive and why don't you have a solar panel? You won't be able to afford anything. That's how it happens. Now, I am very, very concerned. We were on the supply chain thing quite early. In fact, I think before we even blocked anybody from traveling to China because of the Jedi virus, we were talking about the supply chain. We were telling you, if this thing shuts down, you're going to have real problems. There will be real shortages, and you will see a dramatic change in our economy and in our way of life. We told you that before the coronavirus was even here. What's disturbing about this is now Pete Buttigieg came out yesterday and said that this is going to last years and years. Now, I know we've been doing COVID for almost 2 years, and it's been the longest 15 days to flatten the curve I've ever experienced. So when they come out and say years and years, what they're saying is, because remember, the Great Reset is 2030. That is 8 years away. What they're saying is you're never going back. I don't believe that to be true. These are the same people that told us the Trump economy could never happen. Do you remember? It was Joe Biden. It was Barack Obama that said, we're never going to get better than this. It will never be better than this. Do you remember? Well, it was. The reason why it will never get better is because, A, their ideas don't work. B, they don't want it to get better. Their goal is different than yours and mine. And you have to get to a place to where you recognize now you are not living in the same America. We are under attack from revolutionaries inside our own government. They are both revolutionaries and the man. They will lose if we all wake up. What I want to tell you here is the supply chain, they're now, listen carefully when they're talking, because they're now talking about public-private partnerships, that the government needs to get involved in the ports to make sure that they run right. May I ask you a question? When has the government ever run anything effectively? When has this administration ever run anything effectively? The government needs to stay out of the way and let private industry do it. But they're not on the ports. And they will cause things to be even worse because that is their intent. The number of people quitting their jobs is at an all-time high. If Joe Biden and his mandate, if they do start enforcing it by November 9th, or if the companies around the country believe that they are going to start getting fined, November 9th is going to be a watershed day in America, because you will have hundreds of thousands of people lose their jobs if they haven't had the vaccine. That's not going to sit well. It's not going to sit well. What is your company doing about it? Ask now. This company is not going to do vaccine mandates. We're not going to do it. Period. It is unconstitutional. If a governor says vaccine mandates, that's not unconstitutional. A governor can make a mandate like that. But that's the state. That is not the federal government. By the way, the inflation rate, the White House is now insisting that it is now decreasing. It's now going to go down. The corporate tax hikes are going to hinder investment. I really want to focus on this. If you follow at all the energy markets, you will see that oil is going through the roof. And what is Joe Biden doing? Joe Biden has first begged Saudi Arabia. We were importing 0 barrels from Saudi Arabia. 0 the last month of Trump. We now went with our hat in our hand to Saudi Arabia and said, could you pump more oil? They said, sure, but we're not sending it to you. We're going to send it to China. Okay. Now, Putin is saying that oil is going to be up over $100 a barrel. So what did Joe Biden do this week? Joe Biden went to the energy producers, the oil and gas people, and started pressuring them to lower the price of gasoline and oil. He's now going to do what FDR did and vilify all people who are in business, and he's going to start blaming them for the price of oil. This is all part of you will own nothing and the government will run everything. By the way, the other person who did this was Hugo Chavez. That was the death knell to Venezuela, taking over the oil and gas industry. But we don't have that problem, because if you look at the energy markets, they are not getting investment dollars. So there's 2 ways to do this. You can pressure them, you can belittle them, and you can take them over. But if you run a little extra pressure, because after all, it's the United States of America versus Exxon, what you do is you have all of the banks, all of the big hedge funds agree to not invest in oil and gas and coal. And that's exactly what is happening. This is part of the Great Reset. You are going to be paying $6+ for gas. Even in Texas, you will be paying $5 a gallon for gasoline. It is coming. Seattle looks like it's going to fire up to 40% of its police force because of the COVID-19 mandate. Remember, what is the top-down, bottom-up, inside-out theory? You cause so much chaos that things just can't function until the average person on the street stands up and says, somebody's got to do something. That's what they're operating on. You cannot add to the chaos. You must be prepared. You must be peaceful. You must shun anyone that is talking about violence. This is a tightrope we are all walking. If you want to save the republic, A, wake up. We are in revolution. B, get all lies out of your life. And I mean lies like, well, okay, we can talk about more than 2 genders. No, we can't. There are 2 genders. Well, we can say that, he's a she and maybe she should go in the bath. No, we cannot. Well, we can talk about the vaccine and whether everybody should have it. No, we cannot. You know why? Because it's unconstitutional. We are not going to break the Constitution to go after people who are not paying their taxes. We are not going to allow the IRS to bully the banks into giving them information for every $600 transaction. That violates the Fourth Amendment. Get all lies out of your life because things are going to be bad. Last night I saw a disturbing story, and most people won't worry about this, but I do. I've been talking about AI for 30 years. I have been following it for a very long time. I have been telling you I was way ahead on 3D printing. I was way ahead on deep fakes. You might have even heard about that from this program. Also, robotics and AI. When AI takes over, especially AGI, ASI, listen to an old show to find out about that, we are in deep trouble because it's now out of your hands. They have now strapped to one of these quadrupedal robot dogs a sniper rifle. It is the latest that is going for sale for the Pentagon, and they love it. It's a 6.5 millimeter Creedmoor cartridge rifle ammunition developed with long-range target shooting in mind. This we do not have the moral capacity to hold. Our military, it could fall into the hands of a really bad. We will make the Nazis look like rookies. Pray for our country. Pray that sanity happens and pray that you are used in peaceful ways to save people. Because I believe this audience, and I've always said this, will be the audience that will make the difference between freedom surviving and freedom being lost for at least 8 decades. Know that you've been called. Know that you are here for a reason. Know that you will be blessed. Blessed be the peacemakers. Stay informed.